Well, good afternoon, South Australia, and wherever else you might be tuning in from this afternoon. Many of you would know I've been speaking over the last few months and showing the website and talking about the great work that the Aligned Council of Australia has been doing, as well as NERA, which is part of the Aligned Council of Australia, as well as Australia exits the WHO. As you know, the Aligned Council of Australia has got nearly nearly 2 million odd people with many groups behind it as well. So there's quite a bit of a momentum growing in Australia. And I have the pleasure of welcoming on today Jody Clune, who's representing NERA, and we're going to talk into a lot more detail about NERA's role, as well as the Aligned Council of Australia, and Oz exits the WHO as well. So g'day there, Jody. Let's bring you up here. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, great to have you on here, because I've been talking about it for a little bit, and obviously sharing what I can with the website and talking through it. But you're going to be able to talk into what I guess the projects are. What are the key things that you want Australians to know about taking action? Because look, in what we've been doing over the last 5 years, a lot of people have been screaming out, well, how can I be involved? What can I do? How can I make a real impact on what's happening to our, I guess, our liberties, our freedoms, and sort of those global influences on our nation and us. And you're going to be you're here obviously today to talk into that a little bit further. So welcome. Did you want to do a little bit of an introduction, I guess, for yourself and your journey with NERA and the Aligned Council of Australia?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Mark. It's always great to be able to share what we're doing. The Aligned Council of Australia is coming up to 12 months where it was started this time last year. The ACA, or the Aligned Council of Australia, is made up of about 38 groups or 39 groups, and almost 1.8 million people are combined together from those different community groups to be able to have a voice. They're all like-minded, where they're asking, our MPs, they're asking our senators, why are Australians not being put forward? Now, the Aligned Council of Australia were instrumental in asking for a Royal Commission terms of reference last year, and that is still an ongoing component where they're still asking that question. We are hoping that if the Liberals are able to get in, that the Liberals might actually take that up. So far with Labor, we've not had any success. As you know, we had the Commission come through with their own report, which was pretty poor effort, to be perfectly honest, from my view. So the Aligned Council of Australia has got a team of professionals. So it's not just people like myself, where, I'm just a frustrated person who was a business owner and was told how to run my business when we all had to shut down for the greater good. The professionals of the Aligned Council of Australia include lawyers, doctors, fireys, a whole lot of people who are able to really come at this from a legal stance and try to really work out from the text of the documents that have caused us so much pain over the last 4 years to really challenge that in a legal manner and in a professional manner. So where NERA actually comes in with the ACA is NERA stands for the National Electoral Representative Alignment. So just as the Aligned Council is coming together and bringing different groups, community groups together, NERA actually seeks to bring us people, just every mum and dad, grandma, grandpas, aunties, uncles, those of us who don't perhaps have the professional backing, and also too a lot who do, to come together and to have our voice and to utilise the professionalism and the assets of the Aligned Council to be the voice piece, to go one-to-one with the MPs and the senators. And that's been a really encouraging thing to be a part of. And it's been a really, it's been great to see the success that we have had. Mike, I'm not sure if you know, but we all went in 2022 to Canberra. A lot of people were in Canberra. And it was a tremendous time where we all really just spoke with the MPs who were brave enough to come out and address us, those who didn't actually head tail out of town. But the mainstream media, that they didn't speak about it. A lot of Australians don't even know that actually happened. I know that a lot of us have all gathered in our capital cities and have done our right for protest and our right to sort of stand against what we see as injustices. And once again, I attended some Brisbane protests and we were just classed as Christmas shoppers, which was really disappointing. So where it's a bit different is we're going local. We've actually decided to turn the tide, go in a bit more of a sustainable manner, and head back into our local MP's office, into our local senator's office, and actually build up that one-to-one communication and just remind them that we voted for them, we're paying their salary, and we need for them to actually listen and hear our concerns and what they are and what we'd like them to do about it. So that's really NERA in a nutshell.
Yeah, which is really great, and I've been talking about that for a long time, about obviously that local grassroots stuff, and it's really, whether it be knocking on doors and putting flyers in letterboxes, or as you say, getting involved with the local council, but your local MPs, it's kind of where it starts. We can all, and I've been guilty of it, we can all be online and we can all post stuff and share stuff online, and it's out there in the ether, and we're talking in our own echo chamber sometime as well. And I've been guilty of that over the last 4 years. But the key is, like you say, is getting back to that community level, and then having a group of people within those communities that can then support each other to action those things that you're talking about, like getting to the MP and respectfully organising maybe a meeting and sitting down with, if you feel a little bit intimidated on your own, you can just join with others and respectfully look for a meeting with the MP and looking at that way. So look, it's a really great initiative, and obviously Lion Council of Australia is growing in numbers, and like you said, the professionalism needs to be there. And look, the last 4 years have been very emotive. It's drawn a lot of emotions out of people for various reasons, and people have been very reactive, me included. But I think we've got to a level now where we kind of let the dust settle and really attack this at a more professional level and a coordinated level, because we know that the people that have instigated all these are very well coordinated as well. So it's really about combating that. Is that kind of like how you hope to see it move forward?
Yeah, 100%. And you're so right. It is emotional, and that's one of the things with NERA. We actually provide training. We actually provide the support. We do regular free webinars to be able to really help with that. I was so proud, particularly with the very first NERA campaign that we did. We all marched into, and at that stage we only had a third of the country on board. So we had 60 electorates that were covered when we had the World Health Assembly last May. They actually were trying to get the pandemic preparedness treaty signed here in Australia, and well, not just here, but globally. Now, that would just turn us all onto our heads if that actually came through. And we had some people go into MPs' offices, and MP officers who were really quite part of the pain. They were a real part of instigating and really backing up what we all experienced and the heartache that went with that. And, I really just take my hat off to personal stories that I know, and speaking with them one-on-one, and how they were able to really hold their emotions. Some of them did it beautifully. Some of them, held as much as they could. But walking into the Labor, or, some of the, not just Labor, but some of the MPs that really do believe that the WHO and what they're trying to do is a good thing, whereas our reality is it's a huge business deal that's profiting people billions of dollars at our expense. We've had, people's families just decimated. People have lost their jobs, their incomes, they've lost their lives. They're permanently injured. So to have our representatives walk into an office and not be emotional and not have that rawness to it, that has taken some work for us all individually to be able to to get to that place where we can have a respectful conversation, not come down to their level, but to be able to allow our position to heal by taking responsibility of our political stance, taking the responsibility of our own government back into our hands. And I think that's where the empowerment really comes from. And being the NERA community, the ACA or the Aligned Council community really does help with that. So you get trained, you get supported, and you also too get resourced. So for instance, back in May, we actually armed the community with memorandums. We actually gave them actually highlighted of what the issues are of the treaty. So that you actually walked in with the treaty itself, with the IHR or the International Health Regulations amendments that they're trying to put in as a legally binding document with us here in Australia. So we actually had all of that highlighted of the points of concern. So you could actually have a peer-to-peer conversation rather than an emotional charged conversation. And I think that's one of the strengths that we're able to really help Australia not just have their say, take responsibility back for the governance of our land and our nation, but also too just to be able to have that voice again. Like we were told to be quiet, and we need to make sure that we're empowered with our own voices speaking our truth.
Yeah, 100%. And that training is really, really critical, because it then knowledge is power. Once you're more knowledgeable and you build that confidence, those conversations become a lot easier, and you're kind of then able to converse with whoever you need to at that level that it needs to be held at. So for NERA and I guess ACA, what are the key things at the moment? What are the current issues being addressed there? Do you want to talk us through those?
Absolutely. The 4th of November actually had the International Health Regulations. Now, the version for 2024 that came out as a result of the 77th World Health Organization Assembly. They had at that assembly a little, some of the member groups actually came together and decided on some of the health regulations that stuck. We were very pleased to see that not all of the proposed amendments made it through, but there are some that did make it through. This is currently being put to JSCOT. Now, JSCOT is our Joint Standing Committee of Treaties. Now, in Australia, JSCOT is responsible for our international treaties and adapting that into our own legislation and into our own agreements that become a part of your legally binding documents and commitments that we make to other nations. In this case, it's not just another nation. This is an organisation. This is a foreign body that is the World Health Organization, legally binding the Australian public to their regulations. Now, Australia has already got our own health departments. We already have our own pandemic prepared documents that were ready to go. They'd spent like $10 million already on that, which got thrown out with the first pandemic. So the screen that you had up there was the JSCOT logins. What we are asking you to do is to create a submission. Now, those submissions are going to be ending in 2 days' time on the 23rd of January. So the submission, if you follow through to the links, we've also to be providing some information on how you can create a submission, but the JSCOT committee there will be actually processing those submissions at the moment. There are this morning 35 that were loaded up that you can go through and read and have a look at. Now, not all of those treaty submissions are asking JSCOT to reject them. Some of them are in favour, and at surface value, the WHO does look like that they say some great words. But having the reality, when you really look into it, it's not going to fare well for Australia, particularly when we're looking at the One Health policies that are involved with this, looking at the way that they're wanting to bring surveillance in. That is a real concern. The money that's going to be associated with this. If the World Health Organization do have further alliance in Australia with the Pandemics Treaty, that will be looking towards May, that they'll be trying to have that re-signed in May. But that along with the IHRs. Now, the IHR at the moment, they are just individual legislative or legally binding requirements or regulations that we would be looking to adopt. So if they are able to get these in, it makes the treaty, the pandemic treaty, less of a need to get through, because the IHR will do that job for them. I would really encourage everyone to be able to jump onto the Aligned Council of Australia website, head to the IHR page, and have a look at that submission process. It is fairly simple. It is basically just writing a letter. We have already got some points that are quite concerning for you to be able to utilise, put into your own words, and to be able to create your own letter. Now, what helps the J. Scott secretary to be able to identify individuals as opposed to a campaign is making sure that that's in your own wording. So we're giving you some guidelines. You've got a lot of text there. You've got a lot of the points to be able to utilise. If you are able to sort of put that into your own phrasing, into your own wording, that will help to create an individual process to get to the top of the pack. But still, if you're wanting to just make it easy and just get the submission in and using our template in its form, that will be seen by JSCOT as a campaign submission. And what they do then is not upload that, but they do stack that together of people of the same campaign, and they do get to see that we've had X amount of people who have participated in this campaign. So either way, getting it in any way you can is really, really important. And we have 2 days left, so I'd really appreciate that. As a follow-up, I am currently asking people, once you've done your submission, now is a really great time to also grab that submission and personally email that to each of the JSCOT members. So if you have the link there, Mark, we've got the JSCOT committee members and who they are. So these are the people who will be responsible. Now, they're going to be meeting on the 10th of February, and they'll be going over our submissions, and they'll also be discussing this point at length. So I would encourage everyone to be able to have a conversation, whether by phone, by email, share them your submissions, share them your concerns one-to-one as well. We really want the JSCOT members to understand that this is an important issue that really needs to be taken seriously.
Yeah, great. And what I'll do as well, all the links that you've provided me, I generally, after I've done the stream, because obviously people know it's streaming to X, Facebook, and Rumble, but I will upload the completed video to my Substack as well. And I generally always include the links to what's been discussed in this onto my Substack as well. So all that'll be there for those that would like to check these links out. But it's yeah, so I won't go through all the links or where you need to go, because I'll put them in my Substack if people want to jump on there and check that out.
Perfect, thank you. Lovely. Now, you've got some really great talking points that people can also add in. So I'm not sure if you've been following the news, but today President Trump was sworn in, and he did, as promised, signing of executive orders. And this is a great one to help out in our cause. So I'm not sure if you're aware, Mark, but President Trump actually signed the executive order to take the US out of the WHO. So they are now being withdrawn. And they've also, too, as a side note, been withdrawn from, will be withdrawing from the Paris Climate Treaty, another treaty that is costing Australian millions and billions of dollars. Apparently, once they are out of the Paris Climate Treaty, the US will be saving $1 trillion. And on the talking about dollars, Australia has already committed $100 million and then a separate payment of $60 million to the WHO in its preparedness treaty, not creating any actual real components, but actually just getting the treaty to the preparedness for us to sign. We now, as of January 2024, Australia is now the proud owner, or tongue-in-cheek, of the Australian CDC. Now, the Australian CDC is another government department, another layer of red tape that we did not need, and it is satisfying the regulations that are coming out of the World Health Organization. That is now costing us $251 million. We are in a cost of crisis living. It is an election issue. But people do not understand that their tax dollars are funding these regulations and funding this World Economic Forum agenda that's coming through the WHO with with these health regulations. Now, we need to stop and really look at is this a business deal or is it really about our health? And if it is about our health, why is it taking up so much dollars for very little effort that we see?
Yeah, it's an astronomical amount of money, and we've already seen, and there's already evidence that the current government's claiming that they've increased employment and cost of, and wages and all that. But when you see the increase in the bureaucracy, which is where all that's gone to, and this CDC and all these other this department is going to attract a lot more people and funding, it's a massive hit on the Australian taxpayer when, like you rightly say, we're under a massive cost of living crisis as well, and already funding the WHO. So it'll be very interesting, obviously with America pulling out. Obviously, we do know that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundations funds the World Economic Forum, or no, sorry, the WHO. By a huge amount, so it looks like they may need to fund it and prop it up even more. Will that give them even more influence over the dictates of the WHO over the sovereignty of nations as well? And I guess this is one of the big concerns, even though they kind of brush it under the carpet. A lot of the concern from people is this power and control that a global organisation like the WHO has over the individual sovereignty of Australians and how we end up dealing with pandemics or even health, because they openly talk about one world health and one size fits all. And we know that with health and everything else like that, it isn't a one size fits all. Everybody's individual. It's the same as vaccines and medicine. It's like your doctor, this whole informed consent. You go to your doctor and your doctor knows your history and they make a determination about your treatment based on the observations that they've made over your health over hopefully a number of years. So to have someone step in and say, we're just going to implement this because this is a one size fits all, it's really, really crazy, and it should worry people immensely, and they just keep brushing it under the carpet.
Mm. Look, and this is one of the talking points that we need to be having. We need to have this discussion. We need to be asking, why are some of our MPs within our parliament wearing World Economic Forum pins on their lapels going into our Australian government? Like, who are they working for? Who is collecting the money? We've just had Bill Gates who's been to Australia to speak with Albanese. Are we going to have full disclosure on what those conversations are? We're now having, partnerships between Bill Gates' foundation as well as then CSIRO with the new mosquito components. Like, we've now asking for the TGA about answers for contamination. That has all cost Australian taxpayers' monies, and that was fine for them to push out, but it's not fine for them to ask the questions and to answer, honestly and openly, how this was allowed to be. There's just so many components where this really looks like a business deal rather than a health consult.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't we know, look, there's a lot of
Looks like that we might be frozen just a little bit.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Yep. All loud and clear.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm not sure how it's going to go and how it's going to stream, guys. Whoever might still be watching, I still see a few on. So sorry for that interruption. It looks like they're after Australia. They don't want us talking about it, but to be honest, I have had some issues with my NBN upgrades. I've been doing upgrades for months here and got it sorted for a little while, but we'll see how we go. I got it on the mobile
Yeah.
data, so we'll see how we go. We're nearly, look, we were getting through it quite well, and we were just really
Mm,
talking about obviously the impact of, I guess, global corporatist organisations' impact on our country. But I guess just to sort of start winding things up. To see, depending on how the internet's going to go, but you wanted to focus on a call to action to people, what you'd really like them to do in regards to moving forward and what they can do in that regard. So, what is your message to I guess Australians, all over our nation, the key things that you'd like them to look at?
okay. There's two actions I'd love help on today. Is one, to be able to go and jump onto the website, go to alignedofaustralia.com.au / your IHRs. That will actually show you how to do a IHR submission and have your say in protecting our nation. The second thing I'd love you to do is to come and join NERA. Come and join and be a national electoral representative in our alignment, to be able to come and be a part of the solution. Candlelight and light. So would love for you guys to go to the alignedcouncilofaustralia.com.au / NERA. On there, you'll see what we actually do, how we hold ourselves. You'll actually also see that we provide the training, the resources. You've got a couple of positions to choose from. We have 151 electorates all over Australia. We are currently sitting at 78, and we'd really love to be able to extend to the rest of Australia. So if you are able to get beside your MP, your federal electorate, or even your state electorate, to be able to jump along to the website, join, pop in your details. We'll put you onto our database. If you're wanting to be an MP representative and work with us in speaking directly to your MP, we'd love to hear from you and what electorate you're from and how we can get you sorted and get you trained up to take that position on. And also, too, if you're looking at more of a community person, you're more of, wanting to get the people and work with the people, work with your community groups, whether that's Stand in the Park, My Place, whether it's just, Rotary or any of your communities that are interested in our freedoms, and you are a people person, love to hear from you. We have national campaigns from time to time, and being able to get those resources and take them into the community and help to have these conversations in the community is really, really vital. So, whether you're on the MP side or whether you're on the community side, I would really love to hear from you, that we can just get you set up and sorted in your electorate. So come, join and be with us.
Yeah, sounds great. Definitely a lot there to do, and obviously the IHR work there that you shared before, jumping on there as well and getting started with that as well. I'll just see if I can share that screen. That was that one there. So jumping on there and getting to submissions in. That's correct?
That's it. That's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
And you'll have all your little drop downs. So click on those links, and that will actually help you to be able to really make an easy job of doing a submission.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. So that's the call to action, guys, is jump onto the Aligned Council of Australia. Again, I'll be putting links in when I upload it to my Substack, take out some of those bugs from being dropped out, and start the journey with NERA in any way, shape or form you can. Look, the Aligned Council of Australia has been doing phenomenal work over the last, I think, 12, 18 months. I think it's been a bit of a process to get it to where it is now. A lot of people coming on board, a lot of groups behind it, doing some professional work. So if you're interested, guys, and you do want to affect change, again, we're all guilty of it. We can get on our keyboards, we can get on social media, and we can spray what we do on there. But if you really want to have lasting impact, and I often say it, the reason I'm sort of sharing what I can and doing my little bit in this is hopefully for a better future for our kids and grandkids, right? So everybody has different motivations, but one thing I do know for sure is that I do not want global corporatists taking advantage of us and ruling us and being our god. Want to continue to stand up for it. So if you believe in that, like Jody does as well, and you want to join the amazing team there at NERA and Alliance Council of Australia, jump on board and get involved, guys. That's all I can really just emphasize. I can't emphasize that enough.
Thanks very much for your time, Mark. I very much appreciated being able to reach out to the community. It's always great to chat.
And awesome, anytime. And as you have updates, it'll be a pleasure to give you a platform. And obviously, most of the time, the NBN's been working quite well over a number of weeks, but today it decided to play games on us. So, but anyway, thanks for your patience for everybody that was watching, and really appreciate Jody being able to share that information. And welcome back anytime.
Thanks very much. Have a great afternoon, Mark.
Thanks, guys, and thanks everybody for joining us today as well. Good on you.